minute, or that's 5 o'clock? Looks like 5 o'clock. Okay, work sessions are an opportunity for board members to discuss issues informally with staff and invited guests. The board encourages the public to attend work session and to listen to the discussion, but there's generally no opportunity for public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the board are welcome to do so in the board's regularly scheduled meetings held twice monthly. First is the discuss the formal agenda. We've all had an opportunity to review the agenda. Do we have any questions, comments? Any discussion?
Somebody on
Somebody's check.
telephone.
That's fine.
I can hear it. It's just like,
Okay, no comments on the agenda. Well, then we'll move on to our topic for the work session, which is the annual joint board of commissioners and fair board meeting. We do have a agenda summary on page 3 and a itinerary on page 5. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome Callie Linder, who's the chair of the fair board. Welcome, Callie.
Hi, thank you.
And we'll go ahead and kind of jointly conduct the meeting here. And first, maybe we should introduce everybody so people know who we all are. I'm Mark Wheeler. I'm the chair of the Putnam County Commission.
I'm Leanne Thompson. I'm the commissioner from the southern half of Clatsop County, District 5.
John Toyoka, Commissioner District 2.
Courtney Bangs, Vice Chair, and District 4.
Pamela Webb, District 5.
3.
3.
It's okay.
Even when she helps me out with stuff, I can't get it.
Okay, and then the members from the fair board.
Matt
Hi,
Bellingham.
Go ahead.
Matt Bellingham from the Fair Board. This is the end of my 3-year term.
Callie Linder. I am the chair of the Fair Board.
Okay, Sarah. Okay, we have Sarah.
Sorry,
Finn.
I'm having some technical difficulties. My name is Sarah Finn, and I'm a Fair Board member, term ending in December.
Wonderful, welcome. And then anybody else joining us? Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the work session agenda here at significant operation issues. So we've got the fair summary and recap of 2023. Do we have? Okay. Callie,
Yeah.
do we have a summary on the fair?
We do. As far as like number one, the operational issues, some of the things that we know we need to work on are things like attendance. Our attendance was down this year. It has been kind of hard getting back rolling after COVID. There's been a lot of vendors that have gone out of business. The carnival has been a big hit, and we have tried to get a carnival, and we just are coming up short. There's a lot of fairs that go on the same week as our fair. So the carnivals are choosing the fairs that have a higher revenue than ours do. So we're definitely still working on that. One of the things that we really need to work on is the handicap parking issue. Those are two of my big things that are on my list. One other thing that we really need to discuss also is the condition of approval step process that we need to do to have outdoor events like down in the pasture that's during the fair week, because currently right now there's a little snafu with that, I understand.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
So, one of the conditions that all motorized racing will be done indoors. So, we gotta get that.
Oh, okay.
What's motorized racing do you do?
Well, any type of like motocross or lawnmower races, anything like that is supposed to be, per our condition of use, is supposed to be indoors. And we're hoping to get amended so we can get it moved outdoors, so we can do more big events to draw more crowds.
Is that something that is is it the fair's agreement with the county, or does it have to do with land use issues?
We plan to use it.
Hmm. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's something we should look at.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions on the items that were mentioned?
Do,
Go ahead, Commissioner Webb.
yeah, I have a question about. I have a question about how we count fairgoers. Do we know where they come from? Do we know, how much do we know? I mean, I'm just used to kind of walking in. And so do we do any kind of tracking of who they are, where they're from, et cetera?
No, right?
But not,
So I'm kind of coming off of a high of going to the OPA, Oregon Fair Board Association Convention.
Mhm.
One thing that they had implemented there at the Deschutes County Fair, of course, they're a massive facility
Yeah.
compared to ours. They have a, oh boy, the name of the program is not coming to mind right now, but it's a program that uses cell phone tracking. And it shows where the people came from, how long they stayed at our fair, where they went to, how many miles were they're grabbing. That's one thing that I'm gonna be reaching out to the Deschutes County Fair Manager. And because he said that he'd be more, obviously it's a very costly program, and so he'd be willing to run those for different counties and kind of help us out in that way.
Oh, wow.
To see if that's something that we're interested in doing. Because I think that what we're gonna find, because we're lacking carnival and big draws to our county fair is that a lot of people in our county are going to be going to other county fairs to do those things. That's just my personal opinion. But I think we'd be surprised because he showed his county map with all this data, and I mean, people are traveling 250 miles to go to his fair.
But that's a great fair. I mean, I've been to that.
Oh, yeah, and I know it's mapped, that we're talking.
It's almost, it's very much like the state fair.
Yeah,
It's almost as big as the state fair.
Yeah.
And they have, because they have a huge equestrian contingent over
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And so there are lots of horse shows and, lots of festivals, so.
But that was kind of a long answer to say that I would really like to see what that does in more detail and see about maybe investing in that so we can get a better idea of the people that we're looking at serving here.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Well, it's interesting. Thank you for that insight about the Deschutes County Fair. I've been a person shoveling at the equestrian events at the state fair, and I have a deep appreciation for that. Because we're having trouble with vendors and a carnival due to scheduling issues, is there any possibility of adjusting that, or is that a non-starter?
Callie, do you want to address?
Yes, the issue with changing the fair date is that would have to be something that we planned like years ahead of time. It's not something that we can plan even 1 year in advance because additionally, butchers are in short supply, and the butcher that butchers for our fair butchers for numerous fairs. So right now that fits into our schedule. Additionally, breeding of the animals that the kids buy to show at the fair are done specifically for our fair week. And I know it doesn't, a week doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you have a pig or even a steer, honestly, a week is a huge difference between underweight, finished, or overweight. So the moving of the fair thing is a very complex discussion that would take, I'm guessing probably 3 years of planning and making adjustments with. There's a lot of moving parts aside from the carnival situation of the fair. And I would just like to add, we have one of the largest 4-H FFA fairs in the state. We have the most 4-H animals and FFA. We have FFA, fortunately, back in Astoria. which is really the basis of what the fair is about. Which is a huge thing. Our kids have a huge support system in our county, and we're so appreciative of that.
Well, and sure, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just trying to look at all the factors and try and understand what you're dealing with when you're looking at how do you juggle everything that needs to be juggled.
Yeah, we were talking to a carnival rep that was more than happy to come to our fair 2 weeks later than what we currently have, right? And so that would be very favorable, of course. The problem that we run in there is the butcher situation, and the breeding situation. That can all be worked out over time, but then we're running into, we're getting right up against state fair.
Right.
And so the kids that would be participating in state fair, I think it's only a week after that, so they'd only have a couple days off of fair to go to state fair, and that wouldn't be feasible for the families.
That's not enough.
Yeah, and so, and then another part of that is we're hot into Bowie 10 season. And the big activities that we have that do come and use our facility, that kind of go along with that.
It's very complicated.
Yeah, it really, a lot of people just face, like, well, okay,
Yeah. Thank
there's a
you.
lot to it.
I would like to add that we are actively still trying to find a carnival, Kyle, and the fair staff and the fair board. We're still actively working on that. So it's not something that is off the books, because we would like it for the community just as bad as the community would like it for something fun for families to do.
Commissioner Cleoka?
But, I'm not showing my age, but, back in the old days here was, the Classic County Fair and rodeo. Is there any thoughts of going back to retro and adding, trying to reestablish a rodeo back here in conjunction with the fair?
So that is something that we're also very interested in. We haven't given up on that at all, and I think you've made some contacts on that from last year. A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's, it's hard because all of our arena spaces used for the 4-H student fairs. We'd have to have an outdoor rodeo. And figuring out the grounds and all that.
Yeah, and having an outdoor rodeo means we have to rent a stage, and I mean, it's prime rodeo season. And a lot of those cowboys aren't gonna come to a very small community where they're gonna be making a lot of money elsewhere. But it's definitely not something that I'm gonna give up on. I'm really interested in having that rodeo back.
Yeah,
It'd be really good.
back in the day, there used to be a lot of local cowboys here.
Yeah.
A lot of, we had a championship, John England was a championship, roper,
Yeah.
sorry. And, like I said, a lot of even younger guys that are in their probably 40s now, were
Yeah,
into, bull riding and horse riding locally.
yeah,
So, I mean, there was used to be a lot of participation, and you get a local cowboys basically
Yeah.
in the rodeo.
Well, we did have mutton bust.
We did have
Yeah.
mutton busting,
That was pretty awesome.
chicken chasing.
I know that, my family.
Ooh, a grease pig.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that, for instance, the rodeo that is down I-5,
St. Paul?
the St. Paul, which is the St. Paul rodeo. I mean, they draw from all over the state at least and beyond. But I also assume that there would be local people who would, do we have? It just, I guess, like I said before, it seems like our equestrian base has really lessened.
it's dwindled quite a bit, yeah.
And that we don't have the folks into it, and it breaks my heart that we don't have the kids into it. I mean, what's that about? Is it just too expensive now for farmers to?
Yeah, it's a very, really, it's a hobby, right? And it's not like these kids that are raising beef and pigs and stuff, they sell their animals to recoup that investment, but whereas horses, it's just out the door all the time.
Plus to Matt's point earlier, we used to have rodeo arenas here. Whether the hospital is now or Cullowby Lake, there used to be a rodeo, and now we don't have those facilities, so people, if you don't have the facilities, they can't come. You build it, they will come.
Yeah,
Don't have it, they won't come.
yeah, they don't, yeah, definitely.
I see that Sarah Finn has her hand up. Sarah?
Oh, I just wish that Brittany Israel was on here, but she was saying that OSET, are you familiar what that program is?
I'm not.
It's basically an equestrian sports team through the schools
Oh,
in Clatsop County. And they do performance, but they also do gaming. And she said their numbers are the highest that they've ever been this year. So there's that too.
that's good. Wow, good to know.
So is there some way we could use that? If we couldn't have
Maybe an
a,
OSET team
you
competition or
know, a
something.
little,
The problem with a lot of the horse things is that our outdoor arena is not large enough for things like gaming or barrels or the things like that the kids, or I think even the steer dobbing, I don't think that our arena is large enough. Additionally, to piggyback on the rodeo thing, we also have to remember the Long Beach Rodeo draws in a ton of cowgirls. And it's a point system. So in order to draw in any kind of real rough stock you're going to have like a pointed rodeo where they're gaining. So in Long Beach and St. Paul, they earn points for the rodeos that they go to, getting them farther into, things like going to the NFR in Las Vegas.
It's complicated, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Yes.
A lot of money.
Anything else on the fair before we move on?
I just do also want to add that I think that Kyle and the fair staff we are also looking over, like making sure that all of our applications and things are up to date and cohesive and all of that kind of stuff, making sure that everybody is getting the same exact information every time and that it's available to anybody, even if like Kyle was gone, everybody would know the same information. So I think the fair staff is doing a great job getting that all ironed out as well.
Great. Yeah, very important.
Is there an ask of us, except to listen to you, to support you, any way we can, but do you have a specific,
I don't have anything off the top of
but
my
I
head.
bet you will next time.
Yeah, I bet you. And that's kind of one of the things about doing this is like, I'll be honest, I don't really know what to expect walking into this. And so I think next year I have a lot better grasp on what.
You'll be ready.
Yeah, we'll be a little more ready for something.
That's
So,
good.
And of course, if anything comes up, right afterwards too.
Yeah.
Make sure that we reconvene and talk about it.
I
Yeah,
just-
Commissioner Bang.
I think we should circle back at some point and figure out what methodology we need to use in order to get that outdoor space usable by motorized.
Yeah.
So we can do some lawnmower races and some other, maybe motocross and stuff. So whatever entity we need to have conversations with, I'd like to start those conversations if possible.
Yeah, it would be,
Not sure who I should look at.
yeah,
I think that's something that our staff
Yeah.
can work. I mean, if that's all it is, that's an easy thing. I mean, we can.
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be easy.
Well,
College try right here.
Yeah, it's a combination of
Yeah.
wetlands and wetlands,
Yeah.
so that's why there's conditional use.
Land.
And Paul has to work with the community development staff to see what options are there.
okay, good.
There are. conversations.
But we need to work.
Okay, anything else on the fair before we move to the events? Okay, current and anticipated events, so monster trucks. When's monster trucks?
November 11th.
November 11th.
Veterans.
They had the monster truck ride, if I'm girls club too.
At this monster truck showdown event, there'll be tough trucks as well, so locals and folks even from out of the area can enroll and they can come and drive on the monster truck for as well. There will be the ride truck there during the event and they like they did it prepare.
Yeah, that was fun, yeah. OFA convention, we just attended.
we just attended, yeah, and it was, that was my first OFA convention that I've ever attended, and it was, quite an eye-opener, really, to just what, it's an industry, I've never really looked at the fair as an industry before, and it really, really is, and, just the support that they have within the OPA association is really amazing. It's just, it's like, it's a big family, you know, and they support each other and they reach out, they don't hide anything from each other. So often you've got all of these boards, right? And they're all kind of at each other, but these guys are all just, they share information, they support each other. And it really is, it was, I thought it was gonna be a waste of time going into it, to be honest with you, and it absolutely was not a waste of time. It was probably the best thing I've done all year.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I went last week and I was astonished. So they talked about how the California folks came up so that the Oregon folks impacted by the fire could have a fair.
Yeah,
And I tell you, I cried real tears because the sense of community and the sense of the value of a county fair just crossed over any kinds of boundaries or competition.
Yeah.
Everybody was in it together because they believed in it so much.
yeah.
It's very inspiring. And the food was good.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to our, we're gonna have a special work session, to kind of go over all those notes that compiled from that meeting, so looking forward to that.
What was your best takeaway? If you could think of one.
Right off the top of my head, it's, the keynote speaker, I can't remember his name now, from Las Vegas. He was the gentleman that was in charge of setting up the event in Las Vegas during the Las Vegas shooting.
Oh.
And, he was the keynote speaker there, and, inspect what you expect was the thing that just kind of been holding on to me in the front of my brain. Inspect what you expect, you know.
Say a little more.
Oh, so we all have expectations, right? And we all set these expectations, but if you're not circling back and inspecting the work that people have done for you along those guidelines and just holding people accountable, not in a negative way, but hey, this is the expectation, we fell short here. How can we do better? How can we be stronger as a team? And it's really what it came down to, is about teamwork. That, and then having along those same lines was in implementing a better safety plan for any disasters. I don't believe we're gonna have any major disasters to that level around in our classic county fair, but we should definitely be ready for something like that, and a better plan made.
Well, because Umpqua Community College didn't expect something like
Yeah,
that either.
exactly.
And not to be morbid about these things, but bad things can happen. They are unexpected, and to keep the fun, but still maintain the protection that's essential now.
Yeah. We had that security team this last year, and they were very much so over the top. But we need to find, I still believe we need to have a security team. We need to find that balance, to still have that security, but the small town county fair feel to it. So, because we lost that last year for at least the first half of the fair. So,
Yeah, I didn't think.
I didn't see it.
that's great. I'm glad. That was kind of the point.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Solved it.
yeah.
No, to your point, we still have kids, we get home, so we go to fairs all over, and, you go to some of the larger Puyallup, Clark County, or all that. It's like you said before, it is an industry, and it feels like an industry.
Yeah.
You go to a rural county fair, you go to ours here, you can't go 2 feet without bumping into someone
Yeah.
You have kids at the auction who are presenting their animals, more than half the kids personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between ours and a lot of other fairs. And that's so I appreciate what you guys do to keep it that hometown feel.
Yeah.
That's the whole important, the fair is not just an event or an institution, it's kind of like part of our history and culture at Clatsop County.
Yeah.
It weaves in, so I appreciate the work you guys do to keep it that way.
And then I guess the next one I could speak to a little bit, the CMH Diamond Derby. So we are planning to do the Derby out at the fairground this year. We hope there's gonna be some utilities rerouting and work being done on site. We've had it at the campus, so Memorial the last couple of years, and so we'll do our event in May out at the fairgrounds. And talking with Kyle and looking through a plan to make that happen. I know it comes right on the heels of the Crab and Seafood Festival. So there'll be the flooring down in the big room, and we might even have it in the big room. I think that's the plan.
Same last week.
Yeah, but no, that'll be a lot of fun. Glad that we have that venue to transfer over to.
Tell me more about it.
But more about the Diamond Derby?
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't heard about the Diamond Derby? You've done a very good job about promoting.
County.
I've never been
It's a
invited.
Kentucky Derby watch party, and it's a fundraiser, so
Oh.
we have it, we had it at a big tent on the Labyrinth kind of green space there. And it starts, kind of midday, it's an afternoon event. We have an auction, great food.
Big
Yeah,
hat. mint
they
juice.
had dressed up, yeah, it's good, it's blast.
It's supposed to be somebody's
It's
date.
been a lot of fun. The
Good
last couple of years. We raised a lot of money, so we want to do the same this year. Yeah, we're excited to have it out at the fairgrounds, transform the space into a Kentucky Derby feel.
Right.
Yeah,
And I'm really looking forward to, because I think it's something that can show what else we can do with that space instead of just having
Mhm.
sport shows.
yeah,
And really trade shows that, having somebody have a party in there and decorate it all up with.
yeah, we're excited. And then, of course, yeah, you've got your other events, Crabby Seafood. What other events do you have kind of planned?
We have all the recurring ones, candidates, festival, lots of little banquets and, from our community partners. I think one of the big things we want to highlight is we're trying to bring back some of those events that have been, that we had in the past that have kind of gone away, like monster trucks and blood drag. Maybe there is some kind of rodeo event we can bring in,
Yeah,
trying to bring some of that.
no, that's great. So we can look at do you have anything else like that? No. Anybody else? Move on to the financial report. We've got the fiscal year 23-24 forecast up on the screen. And then the actuals from 2019. Any comments?
Yes.
I was curious about the concert revenue, so you have the 142,000 fiscal year 23, and then down to 67,000 in 24. Is that
So you're looking at going from Trace Atkins, which quite frankly was a little too big for our britches.
okay?
As far as, no, I loved him. He was great. It was a great concert.
But,
As far as facility capacity.
Gotcha.
Yeah, as far as, I think as far as facility capacity. So we went from that down to a lot lesser name. Yeah, Sawyer Brown, and so,
Well, that
that
was a
was the-
conscious decision.
yeah, it was a conscious decision. You know, we also spent a lot less on Sawyer Brown than we did for Trace Atkins, so that kind of balances itself out with the money there a little bit.
Gotcha. Anything else?
Well, my big
Go ahead.
comment is good grief. Good grief. I mean, whoa, where is this money? I mean, we're $700,000 in the hole. Excuse me, 5. What? I don't understand. This isn't adding up for me.
So a big part of that is, I'll let Kyle talk a little bit more on that too, but, a big part of that is we didn't really have a staff this last year. For the majority of this last year, we were without a staff. We didn't have anybody in the office. We had a fairgrounds manager for a while, kind of off and on, and then we really didn't have, we had Kelly for the majority of the year. But on top of that, nothing was really getting done, right? We didn't have any facility repairs going on. We really had no money going out to speak of, and that's why you see that capital improvement of $216,000 in fiscal year 23. And so this year we're doing the roof. That's $277,000 right there. That's the majority of it.
And Chair Linder, you wanted to comment? You're muted still.
I also wanted to comment about the concert because additionally, like Matt said, we were without staff for so long that we were kind of just trying to hold it together. So when we finally did get a concert, we were way behind in securing that. Everything was kind of moving at a slow pace, trying to get the MOU and everything ironed out so that then we could hire Kyle, then we got the office staff, and it kind of was just kind of a slow, so we've been kind of just holding pattern. We haven't had a manager that has been working to like book things or build a program or, get things in like the monster trucks and things like that, because there was so much that was up in the air all at the same time.
Got it. Any other comments on,
Well, I guess I just,
go ahead.
my question is, I mean, there's this huge deficit. So where is that happening? What's?
So some of it is, they've been building an ending fund balance, which isn't reflected on this.
Yeah.
And it's for those projects. And so, we're spending $425,000 on special projects this year, where you can see the last several years, it's 0, 35, 0, 30, 0. So we're actually spending some money on some projects this year, so that's where some of it is spending. And then, really the only other negative year on there, the negative years, those are COVID years where we weren't operating. So we're minus 100,000 one year, minus 100,000 the next year, because you couldn't have anybody in the building do anything. Then we broke even, and then we banked money, like Matt was saying, because we really weren't doing anything with all of the turnover. And then that was year we've got the manpower in there, and we're getting some projects done.
The big projects, or we're buying a new piece of equipment,
Yeah.
so that's a big piece of money, $75,000 roughly. And then the roof is our other really big expense. And to redo the entire roof was, I believe one of the quotes was like $1.5 million to redo the roof, and we're just kind of doing what we can with the grant money that we have coming in.
Some of the funding is through grant funding.
Yeah.
For capital.
Right. I guess maybe a little bit different explanation here, I think will be in order. I think some carryover, would it be possible for budgeting people?
Here is. They're not reflecting their beginning fund balance. So
Yeah.
not like what you all do is, you spend some of your fund balance and because you have these specific projects that they're trying to do. So in this particular instance, what Kyle has reflected here is these are all of our revenues without our fund balance, and these are all of our expenditures. And so without that fund balance, yes, they're at a $309,000 deficit, which is a variance from the previous year because of the things that the board and Kyle mentioned. But again, you're moving forward with some projects that have been postponed, and so not unlike what we do with
Sure.
the general fund, you're eating some of that fund balance, and that's why you have it there.
Yeah. Maybe it would be great if you or somebody would help them now that we're in a closer, maybe we need to help them do their reporting.
And not but that's what is, and Kyle will work with the fair board in regards to the types of financial reporting that they're looking for. But they just wanted it to reflect
Yeah,
what your current revenues and what your current expenditures are, and if you didn't have that fund balance. But they can definitely put the fund balance in there to show that they are operating within their.
That would be great, because I mean, to the public, this just looks, whoa, what? So
so do we know what the fund balance is?
I want to say it was like 100 around there.
okay, which is very respectable, so that's okay.
Sarah, Finn, you got your hand up? Sarah?
Hi, I just wanted to state that we also did think that the income and expense report looked funny. I'm a vice president of finance for Teven Brothers Land and Timber, and I've been wanting to sit down with somebody at the county to see why we're getting the reports that we are getting and why we can't get them a little bit more real, if that makes sense. More readable and more understandable. As a finance person, I sit down and I look at the reports and it's not comfortable to me. So
No, thank you, Serena.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely have some vision for some other types of reporting, breaking out periods, like where the revenue is coming from. Getting to where it's more graphically
Yeah,
pops out for, tell the story a little bit better.
yeah, no, that's great.
And at this point, it's been a whirlwind of a year. Together for the meeting.
I charge bar graphs, can't dumb it down too much for me. So, any other comments on the financials before we move to the fee schedule and analysis?
Budget jokes are always. in
Anything?
order. It's a work in progress, that's what I hear.
Yeah,
We've come through COVID, you've reorganized yourself, you're putting things together in a new way. You're not ready yet for prime time, but you're on your way, and we have every reason to expect you'll carry on with this positive trend and get back to us, and things will make a lot more sense, and you'll be on track and in the black.
Yeah, very much so. We finally got a good team and now we can move forward.
Yeah.
I agree.
Great. And the county's here to help you.
Okay, so, do we have anything on like fees?
So maybe I'll try in on this one. So what we really want to say related to the financial situation is we want to evaluate our team and look at what other events and other fairgrounds. Make it more straightforward. So like I have a hard time telling or figuring out what we got for things in the past, try to look back at like previous event, what deal they got. And if I'm having a hard time figuring out what people are trying to rent our facility or having a hard time trying to figure it out. So getting all of that straightened out is much more clear and organized, and it means something like. There's so many event centers in town, and we should all be kind of preparing.
Yeah,
Periodically.
no, I agree.
I just want to make a note of appreciation of what the Fair Board and Kyle is trying to do right now. Is they're trying to develop basically a guideline that can move forward through fair managers, through new Fair Board members, they're really creating this from the ground up, is from all, appearances, because in the past, there hasn't been the best record keeping, there hasn't been the best, it's all been very word of mouth and dependent upon individuals who were present and accounted for, but as we all can recognize, the baton gets passed. And so now they're trying to create a platform, so if ever they pass their baton forward, there's a full map. And so they're working really hard to fill in the blanks and working really hard to do checks and balances. And it is probably a pretty stressful position to be in for all of them. But they're handling it well. And I'm just glad that we have the individuals that we do have trying to handle it, because they seem to have unending ideas and energy. And sometimes I want some of that. But no, I just wanted to put out there how much respect I have for this board and for Kyle and our new fair staff. Is they are really creating this from the ground up. And so putting it out there. Good job, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good comment, Commissioner Bangs, a good team assembled on the board and on this. Great. Facilities maintenance plan, do we have anything we want to talk about that, or we talked about some of these already?
So I think the facilities maintenance plan, in reference to the strategic plan, we were kind of wondering, because that was placed in the MOU that we would develop a strategic plan. kind of see where we're going, right? And so really, we put that in there mainly to see where you guys, what you were wanting to see out of that. As far as strategic plan goes. You know, we have a bunch of different options, as far as building a strategic plan. Problem is they're very expensive.
Yeah.
You know, anywhere from $70,000 to $250,000. And we had a very, not before my time on the board, we had a very extensive strategic plan made and built for us that was around that $250,000 mark. But there she sits, you know, up on the wall. And it's not something that's even realistic for our area anytime soon. And so what were you guys wanting to see out of that?
I mean, can I interject? Honestly, I think, like, I'm not a fairgrounds, like. What I would like is for the fair board to develop their attainables, what they feel like that they can attain. And then their hopes and dreams, and bring it to us and bring it to our county staff, and to see how county staff can work together. I know a lot of this is timing. When we're doing capital improvements, it would be cheaper for them to do capital improvements on specific things. And so I feel like a lot of this is going to be an orchestra of timing. And if we have their list of must-haves and wish, then that can kind of be incorporated into our capital improvement pattern that we're making, so that if we are hiring a roofer, or if we're hiring something for something specific, maybe we can slip them in at a reduced rate. That's just my thought, is that type of partnership. And so, but we can't create that partnership from our side until we know what their must-haves are, and then what their hopes and dreams are. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Port in that too.
Hmm?
Gonna put the port in that too.
Not now.
Can we just orchestrate everyone?
No, because then we have to pay them.
Oh,
No, but if I may, Mr. Chip, I like where you're headed with that, and to the extent that we are more integrated organizationally as a county with all of the constituent entities, and we can collaborate about fees, about how do we achieve economies of scale? How do we produce the best value for all of the taxpayers? How do we generate the most revenue so we can have the best economic development? I just think that's a sound idea. So I like where you're headed, and I would, maybe we can get a little expansive, but not too far over our skis, but it's part of our strategic plan, because when we look at what we want to do, we're interested in the whole county, even if we don't have direct governing authority over an entity.
Yeah.
Well, but according to the MOU, now we do have a role. And so to me, I mean, I'm a complete, we're about to get a whole nother tranche of federal money in the new legislation. We're gonna have more infrastructure money. The fairgrounds should be a part of that. They're a part of who we are now. The other thing that I would ask for in a strategic plan, is some kind of a commitment to, it's all about the kids. I think that, I mean, at first, I remember that Chair Quayle and I had a conversation about when he was upset because there wasn't gonna be the, what do you call it, the rides and stuff. And I said, well,
Was I upset?
we were. I think you're wrong. And so, of course, I did my commissioner hands on the hips things and said, well, now this is a country fair. This is not an amusement park, yada, yada. Remember, we sort of had those, well, okay, I'm all for the kids and the rides.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I think that and I think I just support Commissioner Choyoko's so much that, I mean, you've probably lived in this county longer than anybody in this.
Been around.
Oh, no.
you say, okay.
I'm saying that you're just a chicken. You're just a young chicken. But that it really, this is something that is intrinsic. This is a cultural good in our county. It's a cultural good. And I think that the extent to which we can look forward, making it focusing on young people is just I think just to be all, it's all about the kids.
And that is in our mission statement, that, you know, it is about the youth in our area.
And so anything we can do.
Commissioner, would it be everything?
Just one question is like, you know, I haven't delved into the, maintenance plan for the county fair, but you guys set up like reserve accounts for long-term items. If a roof is a 15-year roof, is there a reserve account established, and then you have quarterly, semi-annually inputs to those reserve accounts, road, roof, so that you, when both maintenance items do come up, you already are funded?
Right now, no. That is the direction that is gonna be something that I would love to see. So we're not just relying on grants and stuff all the time to get things done.
Chair Linder, did you have anything you'd like to comment at this time?
I don't. I think everything that everyone has said, I'm in agreement with.
Great. Any, the next item is the capital improvement, so we had kind of talked about that. And it's good to see that you did receive state law refund grants for the roof. That's fantastic. You said that only does a portion of the roof, or does that do the?
That's going to do a portion of the roof. We'll have to spend a little bit of money of our own, right?
We budgeted for 25.
Okay,
We don't really know what.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now.
And we're only doing the section over the concrete area, concrete in the kitchen. We're not doing the big barn, because that's our immediate need.
gotcha.
So,
We will have them evaluate the entire
Yes.
building and kind of tell us what we need to do, and it's plenty of things.
The roof has been something that we have been working on, I think, the entire time I've been on the fair board. So, I mean, this is imminent work that needs to be done with the leaks and it's just been awful. So I'm glad that we have this funding to get that done.
Absolutely. Okay, anything else that we kind of went to the end of our agenda here, but would you like to kind of go around and Mr. Bangs, we'll start with you.
I just appreciate what Commissioner Toyoka shared about creating an account for capital improvements moving forward and just putting quarterly funding in there, even if capital improvements aren't needed, that it's always going to be available. If per se, a refrigeration system goes out or whatnot. I appreciate that forethought. It's what, most homeowners do when we're budgeting. And so it would be nice to see that for the fairgrounds. But overall, I think that they've done an amazing job with surviving COVID, getting through their first year fear. Well, that might have been it. First year of fair, as they did. And then, they've so much growth has occurred and so many changes have occurred. I feel like they're just weathering all of those things very well. So it's appreciated from the community side, from the parent side, but also from the commissioner side.
Commissioner, yeah,
I think I have nothing to add. I think
yeah,
it turned out to be a nice partnership.
yeah, absolutely. Mr. Joe?
No, nothing new. It's just, yeah, like others echo, appreciate all especially the volunteer effort, staff effort. It's wonderful. And like I said, this is not just a business or industry. This is part of our Clatsop County culture that you're helping to preserve. So appreciate it.
Good trends, keep it up.
Yeah, I agree. Good team, good board, good staff, and certainly the path, and we appreciate that, you guys are invested in this, and, we want to be as well, so we'll collaborate, moving forward and do what we can do to help, and appreciate all you've done. Chair Linder?
I just want to say thank you for putting this together, because I have been on the fair board since 2017 and we've never had a discussion with the county commissioners before. So I appreciate the partnership going forward. This is something the fair board is also doing with the partners that we have that put on the fair, because it takes more than just the fair board. We have the OSU Extension, FFA, the Auction Committee, Open Class. There's many entities that put on the fair, and we are trying to make it a more open door communication kind of thing from our end also. So I just appreciate the efforts by the county commissioners to include us in your meeting today.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate you calling out the partners that are so vital. Sarah Finn?
I guess all I have to say is for being on the fair board for my first year, have been on other boards, and this is probably the first board that I've ever been on that works as well, like so well together across the board, Kyle included. It was rough going into this fair this first year. I was a nervous wreck, and it went really good, and I thought we had an awesome team, and yeah, so that's that.
Yeah, great, thanks, Sarah. And I'll let you back clean up that.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna echo everything else everybody said. I honestly think this is a great meeting. It's good to come together and see where you guys are at, and you can hear where we're looking forward to doing this in years to come.
Yeah, thank you. And we got a couple things that we'll be looking at, and we'll be in touch and hopefully be meeting again soon.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and conclude the work session. We got 9 minutes, and we'll reconvene in the regular meeting. Thanks again.
Good to see you, Kelly.
Thank you. Bye.